Hi, I'm Robin Boyce. We've got a lot to talk about in this episode. We've got who's who in diversity of St. Louis and yoga. Come on back. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Robin Boyce, and in the studio with me right now is Ms. Ericca Willis, who is publisher of the Who's Who Diversity of Color, a new book, probably your third edition?
It is our third
Great.
edition, yes.
Thank you so much for coming and
to
talk with us about Who's Who. Who's Who started out as Who's Who in St. Louis, or Who's Who
in Black St. Louis.
Okay, great. So that awesome publication that your husband, Mr. Keith Anton Willis, for a long time published, got out there and pushed. Awesome, beautiful publication.
Yes, thank you.
Several that I know I worked with him on a little further back, I guess in the early 2000s. And now you've taken it on. How did you get into this, Ericca? Because you were doing all kinds of other things with business diversity and everything.
Right. Well, one Sunday afternoon, my husband politely informed me that I was going to be the new publisher going forth.
Oh, that's how that happened.
That's how that happened.
Okay.
Didn't see it coming.
Okay.
You know, he had kind of deceivingly had me working and helping him all along. I guess I was being trained.
You all have a great partnership, though. I just love y'all. You all just do it together. You do it right. You all have been in several different kinds of businesses, you know, over the years. And now, and he had been always pushing and working this particular publication. But now you've gotten it to open it up to diversity. Tell us more about this mission.
After that Sunday afternoon conversation, I said, okay, if you're going to put me at the helm, I want to do this a different way. I think I felt as if we were missing out, because some of the people that we talked to, even when we were doing Who's Who in Black St. Louis, you know, we found that they were of some minority group, just not African American. And we couldn't feature them because our focus was highlighting and documenting African Americans. And so I just, you know, I came home and I said, I had a meeting actually with a gentleman, Mike Jones, that I'm sure a lot of people know. Yeah. And we shot the idea together, and it just made sense. Total. And Keith was in, of course, total support. And so we just decided that, hey, let's open this up to feature all minorities. On all people of color, ethnicities, whatever, what have you, because there are some dynamic people in the city of St. Louis, well, the St. Louis metropolitan area, actually. Yes. And so we wanted to showcase those and show what great talent we have here.
I really like the fact that you have a really nice group of Asians who are from St. Louis, Missouri, born here. Yeah. Folks, you would even, you know, you would say, okay, you know, and just in talking with some of the folks that I've gotten an opportunity to meet for this new issue you have coming up, it's just wonderful to meet people who can talk about their backgrounds, where their moms or their dads are from, what their backgrounds are, other folks who are not from St. Louis but have come here through job opportunities. Hispanics, just awesome group of individuals with so much to give St. Louis.
I couldn't do it without my wonderful host committee. I can't say that I found all of these people, but you know, you have to surround yourself with people in the know.
So who are the folks you have on this committee that kind of help you out with
Betsy Cohen with the St. Louis Mosaic Project. Yes. I have Helen Lee of Tile and Lee Associates. I have Jaime Torres, who
Jaime.
Yes, very, very active in the Hispanic community. I have Wale Salayude, who is native African, but he works here at one of our partnering banks, Commerce Bank. You know, together with this, and Akif Kogo with the Bosnian Chamber here in St. Louis as well. So I was smart enough to surround myself with people who know people. And what it equals, it's like 1 + 1 = 2. You get greatness out of it.
Sounds like a beautiful quilt. of all kinds of nationalities and groups
Absolutely.
of people who live here in St. Louis, and we should embrace that.
Yes.
And we don't enough in this community, but at least this publication is doing that. What's the mission, and what do you hope to be able to depart to people who buy this book?
Well, Robin, the one thing that we know our book has been instrumental in doing is having great candidates for board placements, actually great candidates for even employment. So, our mission is to always, it's one of our premier networking guides. We know that at our unveiling reception, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon, we have individuals who, are actually connecting business to business, as well as others. One big passion of mine is to make sure that the schools are a part of this. We have an initiative, Books to Business, where we actually do a book tour, where we actually have individuals from the book to come out and share their stories of their own success to the students in our St. Louis metropolitan area schools. And as a result, Robin, I have been told by administrators that performance levels actually rise once we come in and do this.
So do you do small group workshops with the students in school?
It's not so much workshops. It's actually a speaking tour more so. But what it does do is show our students that we too had adversity along the way, but we persevered and we made it happen. You have to push through the obstacles and the trials and the tribulations of your own individual pathways. And greatness is at the end. And I think it's important, that the individuals that are being featured share that with our up and coming youth.
It takes a lot of work to put a publication like this together on an annual basis.
It's a labor of love.
Yes, and so that means you've got to go and you've got to sell it to individuals to get them to buy into supporting what you're trying to do with reference to.
Well, let me make a little caveat to that because we want people to know that we keep this book organic in the fact that we never charge individuals for being a part of the book.
Right, exactly.
So we do sell advertisement and sponsorships and partner with our corporations and organizations that we can keep it organic.
Exactly. So what does that do for a corporation to be a part of something like this then?
It's a great way to acknowledge their employees and the great work that they do to create a great working environment. It's a way for companies and organizations to showcase their diversity initiatives and their diversity staff, their diverse staff. So, it's one thing to throw money and to do it, but to be able to actually show that you have a diverse staff, is major. And this is an opportunity. We give them that opportunity with the publication.
I think it's really good to have an opportunity to go out and talk to some of the intriguing people. Tell us about that group of individuals that are featured in the front part of the book.
So those special group of individuals are actually nominated by our host committee. And so, no, I don't pick them off a cherry of the tree, but they are nominated. And so we do have a writer and a photographer to visit them in their work environment. And we ask them to share some of their success with us. Talk about their family, talk about their education, talk about their career moves that they've made to get them to the point where they are. Because again, it just goes back to being able to then share that story with our individuals who are getting ready to graduate from colleges and universities, to connect the dots on, okay, I've studied this discipline of study for 4 or 5 years. Now what do I do with it? And there's a person that's doing something that I'm really interested in. And of course, it may be entry level once you get your foot in the door, but at least you create a pathway for yourself.
And it's a good way to meet people looking at this book or picking up and going through it and finding, that's a person I might need to talk to over at Ameren, who's a part of the inclusion in the HR department that might be interested in helping me based off their story, blah, 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 blah. An interesting thing I got a chance to see, and we'll talk about the unveiling coming up, in working with a colleague of mine who got an appointment in Jefferson City, and they were appointed by the governor at that time, Nixon, to find folks. And she was looking at going through the books.
Yes.
And that's where she found a lot of the people and candidates for those boards there was looking through this book.
Yes.
So it's a very useful tool for employers to look at.
And you know, and that makes us feel good. We know that we're doing good work. Yeah. You know, and providing information for our citizens and actually helping the city tell its story, because I always say it and I won't stop until we do a better job. But St. Louis just does not do a great job at showing what an awesome, diverse city we truly are.
We need to toot our own horns
here.
Yes,
we do.
We really do.
Especially on the good stuff. We hear a lot of bad stuff. We need to do it on the good stuff. We've got some
really beautiful things happening internationally here, and with that patch quilt, and I always see, when I'm out, I see it, and I think it's just wonderful. The unveiling, that's coming up soon. It's going to be when and where and who can get tickets, and how do we do this?
May 18th. A Ballpark Village.
Oh, great.
You can get tickets via our website, or you can call the office at 314-473-5257.
Okay.
But feel free to go to the website and you can purchase tickets there. Tickets are $65. What do you get for that?
Yeah.
You get an awesome invite to one of St. Louis' premier networking events.
It's really good.
Yes.
I really like what y'all do.
Thank
really
you.
do. It's good.
Endless food, open bar, and a book, and that comes with a book voucher.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you get an opportunity to purchase a book while you're there.
No, actually, with that $65 ticket, that includes a book voucher.
Oh.
So
how nice.
Yes.
Great.
So,
what's going to happen at this function then, other than the networking?
Well, yes, and you will actually get a chance to meet the 18 most intriguing, as well as some very key individuals that you might want to get a chance to shake a hand and make a friend, right?
Exactly.
And we have great entertainment. So it's a celebration. It's a celebration of the awesome people in the city of St. Louis. Well, let me just say the St. Louis metropolitan area, because we do cover the east side as well.
Right.
So,
So you get a chance to meet all these really good people, eat some great food.
Yes, and that are doing great things.
That's awesome. And it's really a fast event. It's not something that keeps you there all night. People complain a lot about going to dinners and things and having to sit there through awards and things like that.
People do not have that complaint about our event.
You guys do an awesome job. I really do appreciate you all coming on. Thank you so much, Ericca, and the best to you. And I really love working with you on this publication.
Awesome, thank you.
You know, would love to come on back and work with you on whatever it is you all are doing.
I would love to have you back. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, and the best to you. And I hope you will get an opportunity to go to this wonderful affair. It takes place May 18th, and you can go to their website, which will pop up again, and you can find out more about tickets. We'll be right back with yoga in St. Louis.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Hi there, and welcome back. I'm Robin Boyce for City Corner. In the studios with me right now is Yoga St. Louis. With me are some really great instructors. They are Miss Dawn Gipson and Miss Megan. Megan, pronounce your name, please.
Macaraeg.
Macaraeg?
Hey, that's really good.
Did I do okay?
You did okay.
All right, how are you today?
Filipino name.
Is it Filipino?
Yes, it
okay, very good. Thank you, ladies, for coming in and talking with me about yoga.
Thank you
Something
for
I've just
inviting
fallen
us.
in love with and everything. I've been working for the City of St. Louis. There's a program called BFit. It's an awesome program that the City of St. Louis employees can take advantage of and feeling healthier, and it's a nice health preventative program. And yoga is one of them, and we have that program right now, and a lot of us are participating. Megan, you're our instructor, and we're just enjoying you.
Yeah, do you want to tell a little bit about your yoga story and, you know, how we met and what it's been like to participate?
Yeah, I mean, I got into the program late, I remember, and I know I have really bad arthritic knees, and I knew that I needed something to stretch. So being an athlete, doing aerobics all my life, jumping up and down on these joints here, and all kinds of other things, and a dancer, I knew that yoga could probably do something for me. So coming into the class and really sitting down and get a chance and seeing all the ladies there, I was like, wow, this is good. I'm glad that folks are deciding they need to be healthy. So, and I really enjoy what it is you all do in this class with reference to taking us through the steps, because everybody's like brand new in this course.
Yeah, when we
is
started.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just wonderful. But I'd like to find out more about the origins of yoga and where this particular exercise comes from.
Sure. Would you like to talk
Yeah, I can start a little bit. So yoga is between 5,000 and 6,000 years old, and it started in India. It started as a practice not just for your body, but it is also to align your mind and your spirit with your body. So sometimes I think people get a little afraid when they hear that because they're not sure what they're about to get into. And what is so beautiful about yoga is if you allow it to meet you where you are, it can really help you with whatever efforts you're trying to achieve.
Right.
So it could be, you mentioned your arthritic knees, so you can stretch and strengthen the joints in that area. There are some people who are more just, I just want to chill out and I just want to release some of that stress that I have going on in my everyday life. So yoga can be whatever you want and need it to be.
I know. I mean, it's an exercise that brings you to a peaceful point, especially if you're on a stressful job.
Absolutely.
And you're grinding or crunching numbers or doing something like that. That's a lot of what we do in our department. But when we get down there with Megan, you bring, you know, the sunshine, and it's like a ritual that you take us through. Explain to us the process that we go through in the class.
We can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not surprising because I want to add to what Dawn said in that in modern life, we're doing things and we're sitting in postures that are so toxic for our bodies. So let me address that for a second.
Yes, please.
So if we're sitting or driving, right, for hours and hours at a time, our body's learning to sit and be in that way. And we were never meant to sit and be in that way with our arms and legs like this. So in addition to like this sort of posture for hours at a time, making us have tight hamstrings, you know, the muscles in the back of our legs, and, you know, a weak booty.
Yeah.
What's happening with the upper body is toxic. It's why we started calling sitting the new smoking.
Really?
Because, you know, what happens is that if you're looking at a screen or you're driving, you're craning forward. So immediately the top part of your spine is craning forward.
And you're putting extra stress and strain right along there.
Right, what we call the cervical spine.
This is stuff that we really need to know.
And so here we are,
workers.
We're typing, and this at least 6-pound object is pulling us forward like this. And then what's happening with our shoulders is they're not high and proud the way that we meant them, nature meant them to be, but they're also curving in. And then to add all of this, insult to injury, we're like this. Right. So we're like kind of like a little Tyrannosaurus Rex all day long, you know, and our bodies were never meant to be this way. And so what we do in class, you know, and what we did initially and everything we aim to do is to correct that.
Yes.
You know, so that for at least an hour a day, we are not training our bodies to do this. but we're retraining our bodies.
Now, do people take yoga every day? Is that something that you would advise people to do, or do different kind of exercises? What would you say?
I would advise people to do some sort of practice every day. Yoga can be something that you can work into a existing fitness routine, or it can be something you do every day. I think sometimes because when people hear that we're yoga instructors, oh, so you do yoga every day. Well, I have a life too as well. And so it is just
we have children.
It's just as challenging to get up and try to make space for something every day. But even if you can just do a little bit of something, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of meditation, it can make a huge difference in the rest of your day.
Moving is so important.
Yeah, and on top of the physical things that Megan just mentioned, in addition, when you mentioned those stressful jobs that we have, so then we're on high alert.
Yes,
we're mentally on high alert, and we're holding all of that tension in just really tight. And what happens is our bodies never go into that resting and regenerative phase that it needs to be in because we're keeping it on high alert. And what happens is certain conditions you may have, so for example, I have hypertension, that can be exacerbated because my body stays on high alert.
All the time.
All the time. And I'm not allowing it to rest and regenerate and help get me in the place that I really should be in. So yoga is an opportunity to do that as well, in addition to retraining the body the way Megan was talking about.
And I'll just jump onto what Dawn is saying, you know, so we were engineered to survive adverse conditions by having a fight or flight response, right? And everybody kind of knows about fight or flight, you know, and that's the sympathetic nervous system. But yoga is intentionally created, like the poses that you get into, the breathing that you do, to actually trigger or make stronger the parasympathetic nervous system. So it's the twin of the sympathetic nervous system, and it's what Dawn was talking about. It's the rest response and it's the digestion response. And you know, modern medicine is telling us so much about how much gut health and your digestion and all that affects mood and just so many other things, right?
And think about when you're stressed, you start to feel, a lot of us start to feel that tension
right
in the
here.
belly and in the hips. And
so much of what we do in yoga is that we try to tone and build the parasympathetic nervous system so that we're not, you know, out of whack. And there are things that we do, you know, so when we say soften your eyes, close your eyes and gaze towards your heart, those sorts of rituals that we do at the end of class, that literally will help tone the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and the digest system. So there's all sorts of little things.
So for some person who's probably gone for a good workup with the doctor and found out that they have hypertension, like myself, I was shocked. I'm like, hypertension, you know, I didn't think so, but because I have to go all the time, I guess so. It's a good exercise to help a person kind of center themselves. I have found since taking the course that just kind of brings me to a middle point or balance.
Back inside your body.
Right, so that I can really, and I feel so much better with reference to stretching those muscles that I don't get a chance to for 8 hours a day, sitting at a desk, typing or working, or in a car, trying to get to and from work. You just feel so
And
crunched.
driving in and of itself is really stressful.
It is very, very much so, because you're defensively watching other people.
You're vigilant.
You know,
You're vigilant.
trying to get from A to B. I had some good friends while living in Dallas, Texas, who loved yoga. And they always tried to get me to go, but I never had the time to like go with them to after work. But they did this whole thing with reference to being in a heated room. Explain that process.
So there are different types of yoga, and I think that's another thing that can be very confusing for people, because when you hear that perhaps Megan does what's called hot yoga, which is in that more heated environment.
But I don't.
But if you did, and I'm a person who is new to yoga, and for us who have hypertension, that can be a place where we may not want to start because we're already in that hypertensive state, and then you go into this heated room and you start sweating.
People just love it.
And that may not be, that may or may not be the best place for you to start.
Right.
But there are different types. So the hot yoga, they do a series of program postures. So they have a sequence that they do almost every time, and that's in a heated room. And the idea is to bring about a detoxification through the heat, and also to do some strengthening, and just really, you can stretch a little bit more when your body is heated. But for beginners, I would not recommend that. I think that perhaps doing something that's more of an all levels or a beginner's class, so that you can understand some of the postures, some of the directions that the instructor will give you before you move into that hot yoga, because things can move really quickly, because again, it's that series of regimented postures, and so they're moving quickly, and you may not be able to catch on if you're not familiar, and you could open yourself up to more injury, and you don't want to do that.
So there are lots of different kinds of yoga, and there's lots of different contexts in which it's offered and presented. And Dawn and I are, we're collaborate. We went to yoga school together.
We did. We just graduated not that long ago.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
A year of going to school.
Really?
So I think that's
so you studied for a year or so.
I think that's something we should mention, is that we registered yoga teachers are highly trained. Like, we had at least 30 hours of anatomy training.
Really?
We had an anatomy final that was
grueling.
It took us
anatomy, so you actually have to study the body.
Oh yes,
absolutely.
Hours and hours to finish our anatomy final.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was sort of going in a different direction, and that Dawn and I have been thinking together about how we can bring yoga to people who they would have a hard time accessing it, period, for financial reasons, sort of cultural reasons, for geographic reasons. If you think about where yoga studios tend to be in the city, there are, race and class dynamics around who gets to access yoga. And so Dawn and I have really been thinking about...
Which is what I love about Be Fit with the city of St. Louis. Everybody's there.
Right.
I love it.
Right. Everybody comes. But that's not usually the way a yoga studio looks.
Gotcha.
So, as yogis, I know how Dawn feels about this, and I'll just speak for myself, that we feel like it's part of a moral obligation that you take on as a yoga teacher, part of the ethics that you sign on to, not just the teaching the physical postures and teaching people how to breathe, but the ethics of the practice, that we should try to make it as accessible to people as possible. So we both participate in projects that are, aiming to do that, and I'll let Dawn talk first about that.
Thousands of years ago when yoga was founded, it was for everyone.
Right.
And so going back to that initial reason for yoga's being is very important to me, and I know it's important to you. So I'm honored that the places where I teach, they're just very open. There's all, shapes and sizes. There's all different backgrounds. And it's very important for me for people to walk into a space and feel welcome and not feel as they need to be able to pick this leg up and hook it around the back of their neck, which I think sometimes there's a fear that that's the ability that I need to have in order for yoga to be available for me.
And then people feel like that anyway, all the time about exercising, joining some of these gyms. It's why they do some of the commercials where it's like, you don't have to be that way. Yoga, and you have definitely, Megan, made us feel very comfortable in walking through the exercises and understanding what it is we're doing. I read an article recently where yoga has been introduced to a classroom in St. Louis Public School, where it's really helping the kids calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so
Dawn and I are both aware of that,
it's
and we're
all
really
reaching.
Excited about that becoming a national trend of having mindfulness and yoga instead of time out or detention. Right?
I've got to have you all back on. In fact, we're going to break this set down and we're going to do some yoga. We've run out of time, but I really thank you, ladies, so much for coming back. You come back and do some exercises with us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Great. All right, John, you know what we're going to do. We're going to break the set. We're going to have fun here. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to City Corner. I'm Robin Boyce. You have a great one.